here's what's going on. As you guys know, I've had this giant basement renovation going on for the better part of a year now, and it is finally culminating. In fact, if everything goes as planned, this is the last visit by the company that has been helping me with this. Period. Like that's just it. So, what's going on is they are getting here today. They are helping me basically put everything where it should be. And then the weekend goes by. And then another dude is coming out to help me actually film the tour, which is the tour that I told you guys you would get. So that's a tour that will cover like all the stuff we did and the studio and the collector shelves and like all that kind of stuff. And I am very excited to get all wrapped up. Now, that being said, what I know for sure is the big recording stuff is on Monday. So Monday the 1st. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to log on. We're going to do the big announcement. Probably hang out for about an hour or so. And then I'm going to jump off for the rest of the morning to help with that and do the stuff there. That's Monday. That's the 1st. Then today and tomorrow is when the people from the company are coming here. I don't think they're going to need me though. I think they're going to be doing most of their stuff on their own. So that being said, they may need to call me to like, you know, how do you want this? Where do you want this? That kind of thing. But it should be relatively hands off. So I should be able to, you know, I'm going to have to receive them when they get here, you know, say hi and everything. And then I should be able to jump back on. I'd like to get at least like a 3.5, 4 hour, maybe more stream in today. The only appointment I have today is at 1, and I might be doing something in the afternoon as well. So yeah, that's good. Then tomorrow we start Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I don't know when it comes out. Have they released like a world? A lot of times companies put out the like, here's your, and where it comes out in your time zone. Have they done that with Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Is that a thing? Midnight. Oh, beautiful. Okay, great. So we can play to 8 a.m. tomorrow. Fantastic. So we will definitely be playing 8 a.m. ET tomorrow. Excellent. That is so good to hear. So we will start the stream with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 tomorrow, and man, I'm hearing good things. One quote that really stuck with me is that somebody said, if you liked Xenoblade Chronicles 2, then you'll love Xenoblade Chronicles 3. What is an expedition, Pala? So expeditions are time-limited mini events that you start a new save, you do the expedition, and then as you complete the expedition, it gives you rewards you can claim in any of your main saves, or you can continue the game as a normal save from the expedition. So each one is like its own self-contained story with its own objectives. They have you get to keep these rewards at the end for all of your saves that you can then claim whenever you want. So it's a pretty cool system. It's a lot more kind of guided gameplay than the standard game, which is very sandboxy. So a lot of people have said that like No Man's Sky is too sandboxy and they don't really know what they're doing. Well, expeditions are like an answer to that. Yeah. You can only do expeditions at certain times, but they do rerun the expedition so you can do them at later times as well. Whoa. Oh, dude. Star Destroyer. Is it a big one or is it a stubby one? Oh, look, it's her stubs a lot over here. Oh, it's not even a... That's not even normal. That has like the junk in the trunk of a Star Destroyer, but then it doesn't have any of the rest. I've tried to get to grips with this game on a number of occasions, but it still confuses the hell out of me. It is incredibly sandboxy. Even with the multiple different main story tendrils, it's still just super sandboxy. So I caught the YouTube of the roundtable last night. Such hype! Can't wait to see it in action. Happy for you, and what a good group of guys, dude. I'm thrilled for them, and everything that we get told about it makes me more excited for it. It's gonna be nuts, dude. It's gonna be. I'm very excited. Yeah. Especially the idea of like having an MMO where going back and exploring the whole world is not only viable but actually gives you meaningful rewards. So, what roundtable? Yesterday we did a sit down with the Pantheon devs, Pantheon MMO is it's a classic style MMO, kind of like EverQuest, that's on the way out. We're actually going to be playing the pre-alpha in September. So if you want to see the game, I'll be playing it in September for the first time in like years. I'm pretty excited about. But the super cool thing about the MMO is that it basically it's a reimagining of EverQuest 1 in a current day and age. So it's much slower, it's much more tactical. Like, it's not just a theme park where you level in one zone and then go to the next quest hub and level in that and then go to the next quest hub, and then when you do all those, you're done and you don't have to do anything else. And you know, it's a very different approach. So I'm very excited to see how it's going to turn out. Yep, and I just recently became an investor in it too. Chef N86 says, looks old and boring, to be honest. A lot of the exploring will be following YouTube or site guides. Chef N, you are not wrong at all. And I think if that's the kind of exploring that you want to do in the game, then that it is not the game for you, to put it bluntly. Yep. If the idea of exploring in an MMO is, let me go to Google and see the quickest way to do what I want to do in this MMO, that's like, to put it bluntly, the game's not for you. It won't be for you. So, that's fine. That's totally cool, for the record. That's 100% okay. Different strokes for different folks. But like a good example of like that I really loved that the dev said yesterday is in this MMO, to get like the best poison resist ring, which you may want for a specific encounter in the game, then you may have to find a ring at the bottom of an old well, like in a newbie zone, and then that kicks off a quest line that then you have to like go around the world and do stuff, and then you get the ring for that kind of thing. So they said they want to saturate the game with that kind of stuff. So that, you know, getting it basically the way that it makes me feel is like people that side quest in single player RPGs and love getting rewarded for it. It feels like this is going to be an MMO for them. Yeah. Cohh seems very obsessed with a sky that is not his. To be fair, it's no man's. Yeah, so we're good. UC White Boy says, I'm getting my first motorcycle tomorrow. Any tips for new riders? Yes. My tips for new riders would be 100% take the motorcycle safety course. I'm assuming you're already doing that or have done that. 2, always dress for the slide, not the ride. Never go out on a motorcycle without leathers on. Gloves, good boots, pants, jacket, and helmet. And the final thing I would say is, and I said this frequently and I'll say it again, when you're on a motorcycle, you are a superhero. You have a superpower when you are on a motorcycle. And that is the power of invisibility. When you're driving, when you're riding on a motorcycle, drive your motorcycle like nobody else on the road can see you. It doesn't matter if they're looking right at you. Anytime you're on your motorcycle, act like nobody else on the road has the power of vision. So, never ride in a car's blind spot. If you're driving down the road and there's a car ready to pull out in front of you, slow down and plan your escape route so that expect them to pull out right in front of you. If you're ever at an intersection, you go last. If you even see somebody else even make a motion to move, you stop. Like never assume you have right of way if another car moves when you do, ever. It's yeah, just act like no one can see you. Act like no one can see you. So I'll never forget when I was in motorcycle, when I was in the class for the motorcycle thing, and they go over all these different scenarios of things that have actually happened where riders have been injured or killed. And one of the things they talked about is the fact that humans have threat detection. We can look at something and our subconscious immediately assigns a value to it, saying, is that a threat to me? It's our lizard brain. That's right. And if somebody is in a big car or a big truck and they look at a motorcycle, their subconscious lizard brain is going to say, that thing can't hurt me. Because I'm in this giant armored box, and that's a little tiny motorcycle. So one of the things they talked about in the motorcycle class is if there's a driver and he's eating lunch while he's driving, or he's on his phone, or he just got in a divorce 5 minutes earlier and his brain is just somewhere completely different, that person in the car can look at a motorcyclist and while looking at him, pull out right in front of him because his lizard brain does not equate it as a threat, and he's just on autopilot and he just does his thing. So like that's one that story stuck with me more than almost anything else in the motorcycle school. Is just be aware. Drivers are stupid and people do stupid things in cars. And when you're on a motorcycle, it's up to you to deal with that. So like, you know, when I drive, I never go out when it's raining. I never go out at night. I stick to back roads and single lane roads. Anytime a car is near me, I act like they're drunk, constantly planning my escape routes. And even with all of this, it's still a high risk thing. It's still a high risk thing. So I love riding. I've got 3 motorcycles. I freaking love it. It's one of the only things in my life that zens me out, like actually zens me out. But at the same time, it's a huge risk. And yeah, it's, you know, you have to respect it. You have to respect the ride. If you don't respect the ride, that's how you end up a meat crayon. Granddad Cohh is telling this story for like the 3rd time this month, rolls eyes. I know, right? I know. Elming, white and red. Yeah, I got the pearlescent white one. Mm-hmm. Those glowing kelp give you oxygen when you collect them. Nice. Now that you have kids, have you ever considered not riding? Well, the thing about, and this is the last thing I'll say. The thing about riding is it's risky, but it's a risk that you can do everything in your power to mitigate. And to put it bluntly, everything in life is. I mean, the question is, you know, you have a family now. Have you ever considered stopping riding? I mean, you could use the same argument for getting in a car. Like, yeah, absolutely, it's a risk, but all of life for every single one of us is just deciding how much risk we want to take and how much we want to mitigate it. So, yeah, I mean, walking outside of your house is a risk. So, you know, I do everything I can to mitigate as much possible risk when riding bikes, and I'm at a comfortable level I feel to do it. So, you know, the stuff it gives me is worth the risk. So, yeah. That's not going to be that way for everybody. I know plenty of people that stopped riding when they had families. Absolutely. So, you know, it's different strokes for different folks. I'm also not a kind of rider that, you know, goes three digits down a highway, weaving in and out of traffic. You know, I take on back roads. I only go during optimal conditions. I look like a Warhammer Space Marine when I get on my bike. That mean it's still a risk? Yeah, but I do everything I can to mitigate it. Yep. Isn't this the bad game with the terrible launch? Didn't these guys basically scam $100 million? First of all, I don't know if it's that much. This is absolutely the game that overpromised and underdelivered significantly. That being said, they have literally spent every month since then working on the game and making it better. And these days, it is one of the best space sandbox games available. So, did it have a horrible release and make people feel scammed when it came out? Yes, it did. And honestly, if they would have like stopped production at that point and cut and run, it basically would have been very scam worthy. But they didn't do that. They stuck with it. They've put out, 30 major updates, and it is actually pretty amazing right now. Yeah. The state of the release was more or less Sony's fault. Nah, you can't say that. You can't say that. There was fault all around. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the guy that runs it. His name's Sean. I like it. But I mean, he was going out and what he was doing is he was very idealistic, and he would go out and he would say what he wanted the game to be, not what the game actually was. So he sold the dream of No Man's Sky, not what he actually had to give people when he started asking for money from them, essentially. So the good news is, yes, that sucks. It absolutely sucks. But instead of just being like, whoops, my bad, and then slipping off with his millions, he literally spent the next years of his life trying to make good on what he said the game was. And now it's great. Now, like, if this had been available on release, I don't think anyone would have said a word. You know, they've been working their ass off on it. And it's important to mention that all the updates have been free. So, yeah, these days, this game is great. I personally strongly recommend it if you're a space sandbox person. I played the game a lot on release, and I can tell you, it basically went from a collection of half-finished ideas with no clear direction into one of the best space sandbox games available. It's been it's the definition of a success story in that regard. Yep. It had one of the worst starts in gaming history, to be honest, but they recovered pretty spectacularly. That's a long-winded answer to your short question. The short answer is yes, it is that game. Yes. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get some lunch. Boy, howdy, I am hungry. Y'all, thanks so much for being here. I hope you've been having as much fun with this as I have. It's been a lot of fun. It's been awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here for it.